Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleoni Crawford. Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleoni Crawford. Well, guys, we have a wonderful episode ahead of us. We have our special guest for today is Gabby Wnek. Who is Gabby Wnek? Well, Gabby is a licensed clinical social worker and somatic experiencing practitioner with over 8 years of clinical experience helping women through burnout, anxiety, depression, stress, and trauma. Through her coaching services, Gabby helps burnout anxious, high-achieving women identify areas of burnout to create more choices in their lives and increase their capacity for stress. She helps women clear out burnout so that they can learn the skills and tools to regulate and heal their nervous systems. Gabby has a bachelor's in social work and psychology, master's in social work, and her somatic experiencing practitioner certificate for somatic therapy. She has helped hundreds of women in her clinical practice change their relationship with burnout and teaches practical tools for nervous system healing while continuing to do her own healing work. So with that said, I now present to you Gabby Wnek. So Gabby, tell me, how's your day going so far?
It's good. It's luckily really sunny here because it rained all of yesterday. So we have a beautiful day and I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Gabby, can you tell us a little bit more about your profession, how you got started, what you do now, and yeah, pretty much just break it down for us.
Yeah. So I went into college as a secondary education and biology major. Well, that completely changed, right? So I did my first biology class and I was good at it, but I thought, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with this? I come from a long line of teachers. My mom, my aunts, my brother, my sister-in-law, they're all teachers. And I'm like, I really don't want to teach. That's not really what I want to do with this. So I went undecided for probably a year and a half until I took my first psychology class. And it was with a sports psychologist. And the way that she taught the class, I was like, this is it. This is it. This sounds so cool. I'm so interested in this. And it was just this like light bulb aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I declared psychology, and the overachiever in me, the anxious overachieving in me was like, well, I still have a couple of credits. Like maybe I can minor in something. So I looked at social work and I met with the department chair, and she's like, well, you could just double major and just finish your internship in the summer when you graduate. And that struck with my overachieving brain. I was like, yes, bang for my buck. I am like, gonna get two majors, right? Oh, if only I knew what I knew now, I would have just told myself to breathe in that moment instead of overachieving so much. So I double majored, and then I wanted to get my master's because in the field of, especially when you go into clinical work, a master's is pretty much required
Mm-hmm.
in order to be licensed in, at least in my state in the US. So I looked at programs. I thought I wanted to do marriage and family therapy in the city in Chicago, and I found out the price. It was almost $100,000 for a master's degree. And I almost fell over, like
Yeah.
fainting, because I don't have $100,000 to pay for a master's program. So I went back to my department chair, and she's like, you can just get your master's in social work in a year because it's advanced standing. So if you have your bachelor's, you can get it in your master's for a year. And she's like, and it's significantly, I mean, it's way less money. And I'm like, sold. So
Mm-hmm.
I got my master's at the same university, and from then on, I just did clinical work. I did my 3,000 hours in order to get licensed, and I was working in community mental health. So a lot of really big mental health diagnoses, really severe mental health diagnoses. Um, and I, over time when I was in college, also developed chronic pelvic pain. So I was working and in pain. And I remember just getting super burnt out. This was the beginning of my burnout story.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working really long hours doing group therapy with really severe mentally ill people, like really just big disabilities. And my pain was like a 10 out of 10 every day. And I was like, I can't do this. So I found a clinic in California that handled chronic pelvic pain. And mind you, here I was like this ball of anxiety, just could not sit still, in pain, anxious. I've been anxious my entire life. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember this is one of like the pivotal parts of my story is there was a psychologist there and he taught us meditation. And I remember sitting there and he was telling us to breathe, right? And that feeling when you breathe, that kind of exhale, that kind of that you feel in your body. And I remember after a minute being like, all right, are we done? Like we're done for today, right? We're not just going to do anything else. And he kept going and going. And I thought I was going to crawl out of my body
Oh, wow.
because I could not sit there and do this meditation because my nervous system was so activated and I was in pain. And it was a lot. Little did I know that a year and a half later, after I practiced meditation for twice a day for a year and a half, I could do 45 minutes. And that practice changed my life.
Oh, wow. Cool, cool. So,
So
cool.
I continue with that I mean, I still meditate to this day. I don't do 45 minutes. I do 10 minutes now with the Calm app, but that was really the pivotal technique that really, really changed my life and my nervous system for sure.
Cool. So I guess what you do now for your patients, your clients, um, you do, I think you said you do somatic experiencing practitioner.
Hmm.
So what is
Yeah.
that? What is that?
Yeah. That so that's a specific type of therapy and it's based off of trauma. So we talk about the nervous system, right? And when we sense a threat, we go into fight or flight, right? We either have to fight a threat or we run or we freeze, right? Those are kind of our basic responses in our nervous system. And the idea of somatic therapy is to help someone go through those fight or flight or freeze states because when there's a trauma happening, you didn't get to do that, right? You either didn't get to run away, you didn't get to fight, or you actually did freeze. And so then we want to get someone out of freeze in that therapy. So we're working within the body, right? Because a lot of therapy is more cognitive. Somatic therapy is we're working with sensations in the body, right? So a heaviness in your chest or a pit in my stomach, right? These kind of sensations that we feel, but we might not have access to them.
Right. Okay, cool, cool. So with that said, now that I understand a little bit more about what you do,
Yeah.
we will move into the mental health part of this interview.
Hmm.
So my question is, I think you alluded to what your mental health diagnosis was, which is I think
Yeah.
anxiety.
Hmm.
Um, so tell us, when were you diagnosed with anxiety?
I honestly don't even think I've had an official diagnosis. Like I said, I've had anxiety since I was little. I was always an overachiever. I always had to have straight A's in school. I was a perfectionist. Like I would get really upset if I didn't get that A or if I didn't do something perfect when I did gymnastics. And I was just always like on guard and always had this like fear and anxiety. And it wasn't really until I developed the chronic pelvic pain that I realized like, whoa, like this is a really big issue and my nervous system is really, really activated.
Mhm.
Um, so really ever since I was little, being in the mental health field, I kind of essentially gave myself the diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder, but I had that in my charts with my doctors since probably college.
Okay, okay. So my next question to you is, so tell us more about your mental health story of resilience. What did you have to overcome? What did you go through?
Hmm.
Break it down for us, and how is it that you were resilient despite what you went through?
Yeah, yeah. So again, kind of alluding to the chronic pelvic pain that developed and the anxiety together, I really had to work through taking periods of time off from my job in order to do a lot of healing work. So a lot of meditation, a lot of grounding, right? A lot of breathing techniques to really get my nervous system to calm down, essentially, to be able to regulate again, to find safety, right?
Mhm.
And I did that over a very long period of time. And then, getting back into work slowly. And then it wasn't until last year where I got really, really burnt out, to the point where I had a client in front of me and I looked at my client and went, I don't care what you're saying. Like I don't care any one bit of what you're talking to me about. And in that moment, I went, okay, we have a bigger issue on our hands if I don't care what my client is telling me, right?
Mhm.
And it wasn't just, oh, I can just take a vacation and I'll be okay, right? And I can come back to work and be right. I was like, this is a bigger issue that I need to work on. And I was coming home with 9, 10 level pain every single night and needing to take a Klonopin. And this was like a cycle. And after a couple of months, I went, I can't do this anymore. I can't sacrifice my own physical and mental health for a job. It's just not worth it. And
Right.
it took me a long time to put myself first and to say, this isn't worth it anymore. There has to be a better way of doing my job and helping people than seeing 25 to 30 clients a week, which is a lot. And
Yeah, that's a lot.
you're taking on a lot of people's traumas, even if you have really good boundaries. So it's funny because the coach that I was working with at the time, she told me, she said, I knew you were gonna quit. I knew you were gonna quit your job eventually. And I was like, wait, what? She's like, you weren't gonna be able to do it, not with the level of pain you had and um just the activation and how much your nervous system felt like it was in danger while listening to clients. And I was like, huh, it makes sense. And so I kind of made that very courageous choice to start my own business,
That's
even
good.
though that's also scary as well.
Yeah, definitely. It is scary to start your own business, but sometimes you got to do what's best to protect your own boundaries.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question to you is, what did you have to overcome or bounce back from your low points? List all the resources that were applicable.
Yeah. There was a lot of really low moments that I had. There were moments where, I was like, well, what's the point of this, right? What's the point of being here when I have to live in such high anxiety and this amount of pain, right? I think a lot of us go through that when we have really big issues that we're dealing with or we've been dealing with them for a long time.
Mhm.
And what kind of kept me going is just support. I either always had a therapist or a coach that I was working with. And that was pivotal for me because having someone there to tell you that you can get through this because I did, right? I had a coach tell me, she's like, do you have two arms? And I said, yeah. She's like, do you have two legs? I'm like, yeah. She goes, then you're not special. Like you can heal just like everyone else can. I was like, whoa. And that has stuck with me because I'm not special in that way. Like everyone can heal their nervous systems or do things to bring regulation back into our body. We just have to be consistent and try. Um,
Mhm.
and so really having that support was pivotal for me. And also the psychologist that I mentioned at that convention that I was at, he always told me this too shall pass.
Yes, that's a good
And
point.
that was so important because I think when we're in those low moments, we don't think it's going to pass. We think it's going to last forever. and nothing lasts forever. Every sensation, every feeling, every emotion, it's all a wave. It goes up and it goes down. It Nothing ever stays the same. And if I can tell someone that and remind them of that, that was really, really pivotal for me as well during those low moments.
Okay, cool. So my next question to you are, what are three things you wish you had available when you were at your lowest point?
Hmm. Yeah, I again, it's that someone or even myself being able to tell myself that this will pass, right? That this is really not going to last forever, as I always think that it would, and it hasn't, right? Because things have gotten better, and that it's okay that progress can take time. Because I think a lot of us want really fast results, which trust me, I'm there. Like I always tell my clients, like if I had a magic pill that would get rid of all your problems, I would give you one and myself one.
Mhm.
And then I wouldn't have a job. I'd be like sitting on an island somewhere, swimming with dolphins all day. Again, that's not how it works. And it's okay to have things take time and allowing them to kind of unfold in the way that they were supposed to. And then I would have also loved to know that there is greater purpose behind everything that we're going through. Like there's a reason why we're all going through something because it's supposed to help us like up level. It's supposed to help us become better people. And so kind of switching the mindset into there's purpose in your pain versus, oh, I'm just suffering.
Right. Okay, perfect. And what words of hope can you give to our listeners? What would you tell someone who's gone through even a portion of what you've gone through?
Yeah. Again, it's this too shall pass. Nothing stays or lasts forever, right?
Hmm.
No, you're not alone in your journey, and there is help, right? Like there is help out there. There's so many people, whether you need coaching or you need therapy, right? There is always someone waiting to support you if you allow that. And actually allowing for that is a strength. Being able to say I can't do this by myself is huge. And also just things get better with consistency, right? If we want to change things in our life, we have to consistently do things. Like I had to meditate twice a day, every day for a year and a half to be able to meditate for 45 minutes and to calm my nervous system. Like that took time. And
Mhm.
I know a lot of us struggle with consistency, myself included. But it's doing those little things, even if it's going outside and putting your feet in the grass for like a minute. You know what I mean? Going out, putting your hand on your heart and taking 5 deep breaths. It could start that small and then building upon those things to create these habits that you're going to use for the rest of your life to take care of yourself.
Right. Definitely, definitely. Love it, love it. Thank you very much. So we're going to do a little switch in the interview. As you can see behind me, to the right of me, there is a book that says The Music of My Life.
Mm,
Basically, that book is about my journey with music therapy and bipolar disorder. So
okay.
that said, I'd like to know what type of music do you like?
Hmm. I really listen to a lot of different kinds of music. I would probably say like pop and country. I'm
Mhm.
also 100% Polish, so I really like Polish folk music because I grew up dancing as well, doing Polish folk dancing. So that music has always been close to my heart. Just it's called disco polo music. It's like music that you dance to at weddings. I grew up listening to that, so that is also something that I really enjoy.
Cool. So if you were to think of a song that best describes your journey, what would it be and why?
Yeah, this is a song that I actually came upon recently, even though it's by a huge artist, Whitney Houston, but it's
Yes.
I didn't know my own strength. Like
Yes, it's a good
that
one.
song, when I heard it, I'm telling you, I had chills up and down my body and I started crying. Like that song spoke to me so much of like, I didn't know how strong I was until I went through all of this, right? And that last line in the song where she said, I was not built to break, I'm literally getting chills right now, even as I'm saying it.
Mhm.
It's, I was not built to break. And I just feel like that is so empowering that you are not meant to break on this journey. Like you are meant to push through and to get through whatever you're getting through. Just I love that song. It's on my playlist. I'm like on repeat.
Yeah, that's a really good song. Let me just find it. I think I have it. I love it. I'm just gonna read some of the lyrics.
The lyrics are so phenomenal.
It says, lost touch with my soul. I had nowhere to turn. I had nowhere to go. Lost sight of my dream. Thought it would be the end of me. I thought I'd never make it through. I had no hope to hold on to. I thought I would break. I didn't know my own strength. And I crashed down and I tumbled, but I didn't not crumble. I got through all the pain. I did not know my own strength. Survived my darkest hour. My faith kept me alive. I picked up myself back up, hold my head up high. I was not built to break. I did not know my own strength.
Oh,
Beautiful.
oh,
Love it.
such a good song. It's such a
Yeah.
like a song full of hope and empowerment. It's like
Yeah.
you can get through literally the darkest storm in your life. Like I just love it.
Love it. Love it. So, Gabby, thank you very much for sharing your song, your story. How can we stay in touch with you? What are your social media handles?
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Gabby Wnek Coaching, and I also have my website that people can check out my services, my coaching services that I have specifically for burnout and anxiety. So that's just www.gabbywneckcoaching.com, where they can also sign up for a freebie that I have on my website, and they'll get a PDF of a guide that kind of gives them, a little taste of what I do in my coaching services, but just 5 quick little tips for burnout and anxiety and a way to kind of get started with some of this work.
Perfect. So, do you have any final words that you would like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, things really do get better. They really do. And with consistency, one of my favorite quotes is "Nothing changes if nothing changes" by Courtney C. Stevens.
That's
You
good.
have to do something different in order to see change. And
Right.
so there's plenty of opportunity and support available for you. There's so many great self-help books and podcasts that can get you started. And then if you need more support, it's out there for you.
Cool. Love it. Love it. Perfect. Thank you very much, Gabby. It's been a pleasure having you as a guest on our show. So, and to all you resilient minds out there, until next time, please subscribe to us on all our platforms and don't forget to rate the show and leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Also, join the community of resilient minds and sign up for our monthly newsletter at cleonicrawford.com. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, The Music of My Life, on all Amazon marketplaces to get to know me better. If you can think of one person that will receive receive value from today's show or connect with Gabby's testimonial, please share it with them. Feel free to take a screenshot of this week's episode of the podcast and tag us on Instagram. You can tag myself at only Cleoni or Resilient Minds 365 and today's guest at Gabby Wnek Coaching. And remember, mental health is not a death sentence. Despite your illness, you can strive, thrive, and live a life of abundance. Until next time, I'm Cleoni Crawford, and I'm signing off.